is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a Chemo Buddy for Life.
We are a Buddies Network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are Chemo Buddies for Life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? So let me just fix my back here. The background needs to be adjusted a little. There we go. Okay. Welcome to Leadership with Laura every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and that would be 8 a.m. Central Time. We talk about all things leadership and communication, 2 very, very important subjects that are actually huge subjects. So I take a little bit of each of them, or one of them or the other, and and we talk about them. I don't know what's going on with my hair today. Let's fix that. Okay. Oh my gosh, you know those days when you got that thing sticking straight up? That's my day today. So today I wanted to talk about how to be more visible on LinkedIn, posting and engagement. And, I specifically, last week I talked a little bit more about other social media avenues and groups and things like that. And why, but today I'm going to focus on LinkedIn and why it's so important to your business. So first of all, LinkedIn is the largest professional network in the world. It's got 750 million subscribers. Okay. And it's really where you want to be as a professional in your business. Okay. Facebook, Instagram, all the rest are great. But I work my business on LinkedIn very differently than I would on other social media platforms because it is more professional. It also tends to give you more credibility as a professional in what you do, right? So it's really important to make sure that what you're offering on LinkedIn is professional, right? And you've taken time to go through, fill out your about, which is very key. Make sure that that the good thing about LinkedIn is it will lead you through how to complete your profile, A, B, C, and D. Like it gives you the process. It's systemized so that you can finish everything. And the beauty of it is when you finish everything, it opens up other things for you to do in your profile. So the more you fill it out, the more you're going to get, right? Things like recommendations, things like, accolades that you give people, things like that, right? So you're going to get a lot of different things on that. So if you want to be more visible on LinkedIn, your profile is a huge part of that, right? So let's talk about that, right? So make sure that you've got your profile picture and make sure you've got a background that's relevant to what you're doing. Don't make it too noisy and don't put yourself in the picture in the background because your picture is already up there. So you're kind of duplicating it. So let's say that your business is coaching, right? You could have a picture of a group of people, kind of in the background, not so much forward, where you're standing up on stage or someone's standing up on stage and talking to them or something like that, right? Or it could be your logo in the background. But don't make the background too complicated or busy because it's going to take away from the picture of you and you don't want that, right? And try to keep red out of your pictures as much as possible because it's a distractor, right? So that's like a good place to start. And then, you have the option now on LinkedIn to put your pronouns in if you want that. That's not something I really do, but a lot of people like to do it. So you could do that. Make sure that you put a brief description of what you do. You get a one-liner there, or 1 or 2-liner. So for me in corporate, like with my leadership, I help corporations create an exceptional customer experience. And so that's my tagline, right? And that includes the communication and the leadership that I do. Then you're going to go into your about, right? And you're going to make it as fulsome and factual and connected as you can, right? So you want to make sure that you're including a little bit of your experience, what you offer, why you offer it, what the transformation people are going to have when they work with you. Okay, so let me repeat that. So what you offer, why you offer it, okay, why they should work with you, and what the transformation is that they're going to have with you. And then on the bottom, always put your contact info, because you can put your contact info up at the top where your picture is in that little area there. Not everybody clicks on that, and I prefer to have it in my about because a lot of people I find tend to contact me there. You can put it in both places. Like, if you want to be seen and heard, like, we talked about that last week, right? Get it in as many places as you want. Okay. And then, we're going to talk. So next would come your work experience. So make sure it's filled out. Make sure that it's fulsome. Make sure that also if there are companies you work for, that you have the links to those companies in your description of what you did at that company. Okay. So, for instance, if you go down and you look at all the different things, you should be able to click on that picture and it brings you to the company page, right? Now, the beauty of that when you're posting on LinkedIn is if you go to a company page, you're going to be able to see the employees in that company who are on LinkedIn. So this is just another way for you to connect to people, okay, who are in the same organization. Or maybe you are looking to prospect someone who's in an organization, but they're not the person you want to talk to. So if you go into that company and you look at employees, it's going to give you the list of people with LinkedIn profiles, and a lot of the upper management will have that. And, maybe that's the person you want to contact. So a little tip there for you. Now, after that, you've got recommendations. Give as many recommendations as you can and ask for recommendations. I have to say I've been lacking about asking for recommendations because I use them on my website, but I haven't really gotten it into LinkedIn. So I've got to work on that. But that's going to give you credibility, okay? And it's going to give you a way to, for people to look you up and get a brief, picture of who you are, right? And that's really important, okay? I like that, what we're talking about so far, because it's giving you like a brief overview. And then, so make sure your work experience is fulsome. And, I only did I think the last 3 things that I had, last 3 things. I mean, you can put as many in there, but honestly, you just want to snapshot your profile so that it gives people a good picture of what they're looking at. Okay, that's my opinion. I'm, by no means a LinkedIn expert. I'm just telling you what's worked for me. Okay. Next would be your endorsements. So get people to endorse you like crazy, right? And what you can do, not just for the endorsements, but the recommendations, LinkedIn will actually give you a link that you can send to people for recommendations and a link you can send for endorsements, right? So endorsements, again, contribute to your credibility as a professional. Okay. And you want that, right? So you get to choose which endorsements people can pick. So you want to pick things that are relevant to what you do and relevant to the transformation that you're going to offer them, or the service, product, or offering that you're offering. Okay. So that's really important. And then below that, it's going to give you the option. So you have your recommendations after that, after your skills and endorsements. Now, it's going to give you your education, which you can fill out. And then also what I wanted to mention is all your licenses and certifications. So get in there and do those things, right? Because again, it's all about credibility, right? On LinkedIn. That's the first place. When you go to connect with somebody, they're going to go to your profile, right? That's where you got to have it filled out. Okay. And, you can also fill out your accomplishments, your interests. People look at that kind of stuff because they want to know what kind of person you are and what you're interested in. So I'm interested in a lot of leadership groups. I'm interested in a lot of customer experience groups because those are the markets I work in. And I think, and I follow, you can also follow people. You'll see when you pull up your profile sometimes, you get suggestions of people you can follow. And they've read what your profile is, so it's going to be in your wheelhouse, right? So a lot of the time I follow like top leadership people, or I'll follow, top HR people in customer experience because they've got the experience and I want to hear what they have to say, right? And they always have really good posts, okay? All right, so so that's a bit of a snapshot about your profile. So you're going to get a lot of visibility from there, and you'll be able to measure that because, in your demographics and your analytics, you can see how many people have looked at your profile. Now, when you go into your profile, make sure, and it's under, and I'm just going to get in here to make sure. If you go under me, your picture at the top there, and you go down to settings and privacy, okay? Now, you want to go down to, on the left-hand side there's account preferences, sign-in security, and visibility. Click on the visibility, okay? So you want to see, the first one there is profile viewing options. So if you click on that, it's going to give you the option, okay, whether you're visible or viewing in private mode. So private mode means, look, if I go onto your profile and you look at your LinkedIn, it's not going to show you. It's going to say anonymous LinkedIn member or someone, in this industry. It's not going to tell you it's me. So if you're looking to build your, and that's okay if you want to do some prospecting and you want to make sure that you're hitting the right clients, you don't want everybody hitting up your profile. But if you're looking for visibility and to create more connections, you want to make sure that you're clicking on your name and headline is what's visible. When you've prospected somebody, they're going to see that it's you. It's not some random person. So then they're going to look at your profile, and you want that engagement. You want that back and forth, right? That's really key to getting more visibility on LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah, I love Barb that did that. Thank you. So your profile is a huge part of what you do, right? It's just really super key. Okay. So next I want to talk about, thanks, Barb, posting and engagement. Now, a lot of us just do posts. If you're just doing posts, that's okay. But what I recommend is you always attach some sort of picture or image. Don't just post, because that's not going to get enough engagement. At the minimum, you have to have a picture in there. Okay, so you can go and you can Google, or you could, in Safari, you could Google images of a certain type. So for instance, if I was going to do a post on leadership, I would say images of leadership, and then I would pull 5 or 6 pictures, and I'd have those in my library. And so I would do my post and then attach a picture. Now, remember, when you're posting and you've got a URL link about something in your post, it will automatically bring up that URL link. If you don't like the way that works, you have to get rid of the URL link. Click the X, not the link, but the picture that it's brought up. Click the X on the picture, and then the picture icon will come up again for you to add a picture. Otherwise, it's not going to show up. It's not going to allow you to do it. Okay. So the 3 types of posts you want to be doing, okay, almost weekly, are actually there's 4 actually that I use. So just a regular post with an image, a poll, and the poll can be about anything, and you want to make sure it's engaging things. So polls are really easy to create, and they give you information, and they give you huge interaction. I would say they're the number one thing besides video that gives huge interaction that you can actually track, because you can see people have viewed your video, but you can't always see who and when, right? So the poll gives you a bit more information in a different way. So you could do anything on your poll, like I teach leadership. Like, so if I said something like, thinking of doing an hour workshop, what would you like to hear? Thinking of doing an hour workshop on leadership, what would you like me to speak about? What would help you the most? Right? Because remember, you got to make it all about them. So you're giving information here. I never sell on LinkedIn unless I'm offering a webinar where people can come and get more information, right? It's all about engaging people to create a trusted partnership and taking it offline. Okay. That's what I use LinkedIn for. So engagement, connection, collaboration. Those are the 3 things that I use LinkedIn for. So create your poll. I would, like I said, I would say, something like, hey, I want to take a poll. I'm creating a leadership workshop. I'd love to hear what would resonate with you most. What would you most like to see in this workshop? What would help you the most? So it could be something like, finding my why, how to get past what's getting in my way, not making enough money, how to work with my team. So I would do A, B, C, D. I would give people 4 options, and they could click on one, or you can offer them the options to click on one, or they can click on multiple options in the poll. Polls will get you great visibility and engagement. Do 1 a week. I've been so busy, I haven't been doing it lately, but it's a great tool. I know someone who is a LinkedIn expert, and she does them all the time. The second thing I would say are video. So the third thing. So the first was post with an image. The second was polls. The third I would say would be videos. So for CX International, which is part of my leadership with Laura, but on the corporate side, it helps companies create a better customer experience on all levels. I did 8 or 9 articles up, and I videoed them. Right. And so I literally took my script and I did the video of it. And I compared it. I posted a portion, of one of the articles, okay, which is going to be the 4th thing we talk about. And then I posted the video. The video probably got 500% more views than the article, because it was less than 5 minutes. Okay, it was maybe 2-3 minutes. It was engaging enough. It gave key information, and it allowed people to engage with me. Okay, so video is very powerful. And, I know a lot of people talk about Facebook Lives and stuff like that. Like, people want to engage with you now more than ever on a platform, live if they can. And if it's an informational thing, it's recorded, it's just as good. Okay. So like that's a key thing that you want to be doing. At least, I post my videos that I've recorded probably once every 2 weeks, but I should be doing one a week. You can even do a LinkedIn Live, and that's just kind of like the fifth one, but let me get to the fourth. So any articles you've written, you can post them on there, do a little description at the top about what it is, so that people get engaged to look at the article. But the thing is, you don't have to give them the whole article. You can just take a portion of it and post that. I wrote this article on, the 4 different types of customers when you're working in customer experience. This was one of my biggest challenges, right? And I took maybe the first paragraph or the second paragraph and I posted it in there. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. Please let me know what you think, right? And I posted that. I got good engagement on that as well. Okay. Now, LinkedIn has the ability to give you the option to do LinkedIn Lives, which it never did before. So I think you can go into the help and put in LinkedIn Live, and it will give you the process that you can go through. You may need, you have to have a complete profile. I'm not sure if you need a company profile. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But LinkedIn Live is a perfect opportunity. For instance, I'm going to be doing a webinar tomorrow with somebody, a LinkedIn Live with somebody for a teaser for a training we're doing the following week, right? So we're just going to get on at 11:15 this morning in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and talk about what our workshop's going to be about. So it's a great way to engage live, kind of like a Facebook Live. But with LinkedIn, because it's a more professional platform, you actually have to apply for it, right? And they have to approve you. Once they approve you, they send you an email about how to go about that and start to do it. And it's quite a process to go through, but it's not that hard. So it should be easy to do. So click the help button on the LinkedIn and just, plug in LinkedIn Live. How do I get LinkedIn Live, right? So that is another way to get great engagement and posts. Now, if you're on a social media campaign, like I know, Barbara does, include LinkedIn in that. You may need to modify your post to be a little bit more professional. So for instance, if I was posting something about my leadership on Facebook, I'd be like, hey, everybody, I'm doing, a 1 hour session, 1 hour webinar on, how to remove your roadblocks. It's going to be great. All those things you've been struggling with? Yeah, I'm going to give you the tools you need to get past them, how to recognize them, how to evaluate them, and how to remove them. And I know that some of you are going to need that. So why don't you come on out, join me. It's going to be a great time, and you're going to get so much value out of it. I just know it. All right, so I'll see you there. My LinkedIn Live would be very different. Okay, it'll be like, hey everybody, Laura Armstrong here from CX International, 3-time world champion. I've been on the path to leadership for so many years, and I know the struggles that have happened. And as professionals, we all go through our own struggles. Well, I decided that I wanted to help people by offering them a 1 hour training on how to take a look and remove what might be getting in the way of our success. We all want to be looked at as, leaders and professionals in our field. And this is going to give you the opportunity to do that, right? So I encourage you to register for the course. It's going to be an hour that is going to give you so many deliverables that you'll be able to apply in your business and your life right now to bring your professional acumen and your knowledge to the next level. 2 very different videos, okay? So the LinkedIn one is far more professional and it's far more muted. The Facebook and the other ones are all about engagement and excitement. LinkedIn it can be about that, but not to that level, right? People come there for a certain mindset. So you have to be in that mindset. Okay. So what else can I say about being more visible on LinkedIn? Try to post 3 times a week and make it educational, make it a value added. Anything where you're trying to sell, and I don't see a lot of this on LinkedIn, but I've seen a bit of it. Let's briefly talk about posting. I can't tell you how many posts or connection requests I get a day for people pitching me, right? You guys, you have to start with creating a trusted partner relationship. If you pitch me, I literally say to people in the response, I'm like, you know what? Let's just say Sue, came on and said, well, I offer this. Sue, it'd be really nice to get to know you before you pitch me. Right? I'm not interested in being pitched by people I don't know. People I know don't even pitch me. We create collaborations, right? And it's a natural occurring part of the relationship where business happens, right? So you have to create that trusted partner relationship. So when you're connecting with someone, I always say something like, hey, you know what? I'm looking to expand, my network of professionals. It's clear you're the expert in your field. And I'd really appreciate connecting with you. I have a huge referral network, right? And they'll connect and I'll say, great, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I know we're all busy these days. I'd love to hear more about what you do. And if you think, maybe we could have a conversation and connect a little bit further. Right. But, I don't go for it right away because I really do want to create that relationships. That's why, my network has expanded so quickly is because I'm actually in it for the people, not for the purchase, right? So you have to change your mindset about how you connect with people. And until you start doing that, you're going to wonder why you keep getting those no's or refusals or those people like me who say, you cannot pitch me. You don't even know me, right? It's just not the way to go for things, right? It doesn't matter how famous you are. Just create that connection with people. They're going to appreciate that more, especially now more than ever in the world, right? So make sure that you're doing that when you're working in LinkedIn. That's the one key thing I want to say about posts, okay? There are lots of lead gen tools out there you can use for LinkedIn, specifically for LinkedIn. Make sure you do your research on that. And I think that's all I want to say for today. That was a lot about LinkedIn. It's something I use and I'm very passionate about. There are a lot of LinkedIn experts out there. So if you need the name of an expert, I can definitely give you someone I use. She's amazing. Jessica Bennett. Oh, sorry, it's allergy season here. So she's amazing. So I use her. I'd like to give her a little promo. And Barbara Beckley, and she's specifically on LinkedIn only. She doesn't do other social media platforms. Barbara Beckley also does, giving her a shout out. She is an amazing social media manager. Definitely worth checking out. And she's got you covered on all the bases. So that's it for today. Next week, we're going to talk about invitations to podcasts and how to do that to boost your leadership and your visibility, and just get clear on the type of podcast you want to be on and the type of people you want to interact with, right? And this is a big part of building your referral network as a leader. So all of these things that I'm giving you every single week are going to build your book of business, but they're also going to build your referral network and build your visibility, right? So it all works together. All right, so that's it for today. Just a quick promo for Clubhouse. Join me in the Leadership Warriors room. We're there at 7 p.m. most evenings. I'd love to see all of you. We have engaging conversation about leadership. And remember, you're all leaders, whether you believe it or not. I know you are. If you're talking to another human being, you are leading. I tell you this every single week. So you can check me out at leadershipwithlaura.com. Check me out on Clubhouse. Follow me on and join our Leadership Warriors room. Or you can email me at laura@leadershipwithlaura.com. Hey, my 3-day leadership challenge is coming. It's absolutely free for you. Once I have it, I'll make sure that we put it up and you can take advantage of that. And that will give you a great opportunity to step into your leadership and see where things are going for you. I'm Laura Armstrong. I'll see you next week on Leadership with Laura. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.
Welcome to the Diamond Spotlight interview. I am Barbara Beckley, the founder of the Diamond Factor LLC, where the mission is to empower women to understand their PPD, I call it, their purpose, their passion, and their drive. And this platform is to make sure to increase their visibility and shine like a diamond to the world. Today we are spotlighting, as I call all the ladies, Queen Diamonds. We have another lady, another royalty in the house, Miss Elizabeth Becker. She is a force to be reckoned with. I'm going to say that already. And she's behind the High B&B, an amazing cannabis friendly alternative to Airbnb, formerly a writer director in the film industry. Elizabeth shifted her focus to cannabis and has been building out the platform, which has recently become public facing across Canada. Wow. Big difference, big switch, Miss Queen. So, welcome to the Diamond Factor Spotlight. I am so glad that you decided to come on. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Barbara. I'm doing great. Another day in lockdown during COVID.
I know. Oh, boy. It's on top of everything, we got to run our business and run family and stuff. And then on top of that, we got to be in the house all day and all night to fight, I call it invisible enemy. But yeah, but you're doing great. You look beautiful. You do.
Thank you.
I know about lockdowns. I mean, we got to do our best after a while, but you look wonderful. So thank you again. So I just want to get into it. I want people to get to know how awesome you are and amazing. So I know you're working in the industry now because you switched from writer and director, and now you're, dealing with the cannabis and that industry. And I know there's some, I know in Canada it's really like more legal and everything, and they have stores and all that. But in the United States, we're still dealing with some states that, well, mostly a lot of the states that are not there yet. So I was wondering, I always ask the ladies, what really pushed you, gave you that purpose to do what you do in your business? So what kind of started you to say, hey, I want to switch over to this?
Well, I wasn't completely satisfied in film and television. Living in Canada, I had sort of been groomed in the States. I went to the American Film Institute and was quite ambitious with where I wanted my career to go. But after coming back to Canada, the film and TV industry in Canada really is not the same as the American one. It's mostly government funded, and I just didn't feel like I was meeting my potential. So I was looking for a way to transition, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to transition into. I was brought up in a family by an entrepreneurial mother. I grew up working in her company, and she was like an absolute force and my mentor. I've learned so much from her. But I grew up in sales and marketing in her company, and always, she told me I had the fire in my belly. A little different than my other sisters, and I did. I mean, she saw in me when I was young. She said, "Oh, I want this child to have life experience," and she sent me to all sorts of different types of experiences, and I just sort of ate up, different cultures and different, seeing how different people live, and so I always had this hunger in me, and I just wasn't able to apply it, and so I thought that it was in film, and it didn't. It wasn't the outlet for me that I had wanted. And so I had been living for quite some time feeling like I'm not meeting my potential and looking for the outlet where that would come together, and knowing, inside that I was destined for something that was going to click. And so when cannabis became legal in Canada, I knew that there was opportunity there. And I, again, wasn't sure exactly how I was going to find my opportunity. And I just sort of followed a path where this came before me. The idea of creating an Airbnb platform for the cannabis industry. At first, when I was thinking about it, I was working with a cannabis entrepreneur, actually, who was also thinking about it, and sort of, asked me to help him put it together. And I started looking at the business plan for this. At first I thought, well, this isn't really a great idea because it's been done. Bud and Breakfast has already done it. So we're too late to the party. And then I started talking to people, all these cannabis lovers, and their eyes lit up at the idea. Oh yeah, that's so great. For Canada, we would want to have cannabis accommodations, but more than what Bud and Breakfast is doing, I think is this great opportunity for cannabis friendly experiences and adventures and events. And so seeing all these people and how their eyes lit up, and I just became pulled into it. And then I started looking at the business plan, started looking at what the model would be and what it would take in order to get it going. And it was absolutely clear to me that this was alive. This concept was alive. It was something that I could bring life to. It was something that I could transfer a lot of my skills over to. As a filmmaker, I spent years, really decades, making films, which is creating a script, which is the blueprint, and making a budget and making a schedule, and then finding people who are leads in all the various departments and overseeing what they're doing and helping them with their design and development and technical specs to pull it all together to connect with an audience who gets empowered by the message that you're bringing forward with your film. So I looked at that in terms of building a platform. And then that really was the barrier to entry, right? The platform, the technology, because in the end, we're really a technology company. It's what we're offering to the general public in terms of making their accommodation listings and their event listings. And I knew that I didn't want to just take a platform that was off the shelf, because there's a whole bunch of these pre-built platforms, but they're not customized to exactly how I needed it to function for the community that I was building this for. So it took a lot of time and effort. I'm still working on it every day, and I'm sort of a little bit crazed on making sure that all these details are in place, and it's going to, and it functions and it works and it's scalable. Yeah. So I hope I haven't, it's a long answer, but.
No, I mean, that's one thing I love when I hear, women talk about their passion and how they changed. See, in your case, it's like, I tell people like, well, my purpose, sometimes I don't know, or it changes. I always tell people, you still have that purpose, because like your mother, I'm going back to what your mother said about you had that fire in your, stomach, how you just was that person, you knew what you had, and you had that electricity in you. And you can tell from you when you're being a writer and a director, and now you change that particular purpose and switch it over to this particular industry, and you're going at it because you just said you're using the same tools that you used when you were a director and writer, and just flipped it to move forward in the business that you're doing now. So it just excites me when I hear that, because I'm like, yeah, they're still doing their thing, but it's just in a different realm. You never lose it. You just do something different. I always tell people, you just flip to another thing. And that's good, because as long as you're happy here, I tell people it doesn't matter if you're changing in the different areas. You're happy here, you're moving forward. So, kudos to you. And it's amazing that, you took this platform and it's really thriving, and you're still working to build it even better. Now, I was going to ask you, Elizabeth, can you just describe a little bit, because just for our listeners to make sure that they understand too, about what is high B&B? Because I know it's, like you said, like a bed and breakfast, but I know for cannabis, what is it a little bit different, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, it's an online marketplace that offers peer-to-peer listings. So we aren't event planners, nor are we in real estate, but we're technology platforms. So if you have an apartment that you're looking to rent, that you're open to supporting the cannabis community, where somebody can come with their own cannabis. Like, the one thing that we always say to our guests is that you will never be marginalized, shamed, or judged because you enjoy cannabis. And you will always be welcome to bring your own cannabis. Some hosts, we have accommodation hosts and adventure hosts. So some accommodation hosts don't want to have smoking in their unit, and that's fine. They can either provide space for smoking on a balcony or a terrace, or they can indicate that smoking is available outside but not inside, but they still support the community, because the community is, here in Canada, it's legal. And with that, it's time for us to take away the stigma of cannabis, because there's so much stigma around cannabis, and people who want to travel within their lifestyle where they enjoy cannabis once in a while. It doesn't mean that they have to be partiers. And there's so many people who enjoy cannabis for holistic and naturopathic and healing elements. So we want to be inclusive to everybody, and just to take away that stigma. So currently with Airbnb, if somebody's looking for a cannabis-friendly place, Airbnb can't recognize cannabis because it's illegal still on a federal level, and within the banking system, they aren't able to say it. So hosts are sort of slipping in 420 friendly into their description. But if a guest is looking to search for 420 friendly accommodations, they can't really find them unless they look at individual listing by listing. So and when it comes to accommodations, it's something clearly that we're open on, and that nobody's going to get kicked out. A lot of cannabis users use accommodations, and then they take the risk that the host is actually intolerant to cannabis and they might get kicked out, or it's just that we don't. I'm a cannabis user. I love cannabis. It's affected my life in a very positive and benevolent way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't associate it with partying, although I enjoy it socially as well. But the big driver for me, and what I am equally passionate about, and why I wanted to transition into cannabis, is because it's time not to feel ashamed. I don't have to hide it. I don't want to have to pretend. I don't want to have to not say the C word, the cannabis word, and feel like I'm going to be judged. And to just live without having that stigma associated with it is what I am trying to celebrate and offering to the community.
Yes.
Both with accommodations and with events. Like if you look at alcohol, there's many touch points in your day-to-day life where you can enjoy alcohol. You can have a glass of wine at lunch at a restaurant, or it's a social tool, and it's entirely socially acceptable. But cannabis is not. There's not a lot of outlets where I can go to. To be elevated on cannabis with other people and enjoy that together in a in a legal and safe and responsible way.
Yeah, and I, because I interviewed a few other ladies that they have a movement to really make sure that people understand that cannabis is not, like you said, the stigma of, oh, you just get high, and because that's what people think of it as. And there's so many other avenues to cannabis where, like you said, from helping you health wise. A lot of people use it because if they're having sleeping problems or anxiety, they call it I know some headaches, if they have really hard headaches and stuff like that. So there's a lot of health remedy with cannabis that helps a lot of health remedy and conditions that you have. So I tell people, you got to look outside the box and see that, and I always think of it too, like, overall, it's a plant. So would I want to take some medication that I can get stuck with, and get, or do I want to take something that's growing, that's natural, that's helping,
Right.
to your body. So, I always tell people, keep that in mind, though, because you might be missing out on something that can really help you in your life. Being not just, taking it, but like you said, building a business from it. It's a good investment. I mean, there's a lot of things to it. So again, I just really, I really appreciate you really getting into that market and then showing others, look, this is something that is really helping, and you might want to try it too.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I've had some hosts say, I can't wait to start listing on your platform. We live close to a hospital, and we've explored with healing with cannabis, and would love to be able to offer accommodations to people who are here visiting people in the hospital, or if you're a day patient, they can come to their particular accommodation and learn a little bit more about what's been effective for healing, what type of product, because it's really an exploration for the person. Cannabis has a different effect for each person because we all have a different endocannabinoid system. So it's a little bit of trial and error, and it's up to the individual person to see what has a positive effect and what doesn't. So there is some exploration that's, in terms of the product and the dosage. I'm not an expert on that, but I want to be open to support the conversation and exploration.
Yeah, and like you said, because I have, even like I said, I had some other interviewers, and they were telling me about how the health part of it, and I was like, wow, I feel like a little kid. Like I said, I'm just learning. I said, really? And they said, Barbara, it helps here, and this does this, and I was like, and they were really getting deep into the whole biology of it, everything, and then to the point where they said you could even put it in food, and that will help you with that. You could cook with it. I was like, okay, see, now I'm just all into it. Thank you for leveling up my intelligence with this. So that's why I thank you too, because if we don't keep that mindset open, you lose out. I always tell people you lose out so much. So I wanted to ask you too, Elizabeth. Now, just because, listeners, I have different age groups. And if they, people were thinking about getting to this type of industry, this business, what kind of advice, just maybe one thing that you would give them some advice about doing that?
If they want to get into the cannabis business?
Yes.
Well, I find it very exciting because it's a brand new business that's opening up. And so there's lots of opportunities. And I think that it hasn't settled. It's so nascent of an industry. So I would say, find what it is that interests you and figure out how you can contribute and don't budge. Don't budge and keep going. There's a lot of people that see a barrier to entry because they don't know the people in the cannabis industry, and you need to network and you need to know somebody on the inside to bring you in. And everybody in the cannabis industry is new. That's the thing, right? Everybody has come in and is new. And sometimes it's not easy to get the person who's inside the industry to bring you in and legitimize you and introduce you to everybody else. But it will happen if you're persistent. And in addition to that, I just lost my train of thought. So it'll happen if you're persistent. In addition to that, it's important to know what you have to offer.
Yeah.
How are you helping people? If you can figure out, how can I add value, even if it doesn't benefit you? Can I introduce you to somebody? Can I offer exposure to you? Because in cannabis, the cannabis industry is really struggling. The legal cannabis industry is struggling. Not only do they have the legacy market, and the gray market that's challenging them, but there's also all these restrictions in terms of the legislation when it comes to marketing. So cannabis industry needs help to get the word out and market, and that's one of the things actually that High B&B is set up for. So not only do we want to help sort of legitimize the cannabis industry when it comes to leisure activities and accommodations, but we're also set up to help the actual industry advertise by offering advertising to in Canada. It has to be an age-gated site where you advertise cannabis.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk a little bit more about High B&B because I haven't really given a good pitch on it. So this is what it is. When you come to our site, you have three options. You can stay high, play high, and get high. Those are the three options.
That's kind of catchy. It's like it's either this, and this.
I figure half the people coming to
the choices,
right? So you have to be really clear. So we needed to make it a site that's really easy to navigate, right?
Well, that's pretty like straightforward.
Right? So if you follow the Stay High route, then you can see all of the different accommodations that are available that are listed with us. And you can search those based on your country or your province or your state. That's Stay High. And Play High is the different activities. And when we talk about the activities, this is what hasn't been explored and hasn't been set up yet, because I see it as more than just like tour related activities involving cannabis. It's meetup groups, offering a meetup group to offer support, because cannabis helps us to be a little bit more introspective, to help look at ourselves. And sometimes if we're caught in a pattern of thinking where if you see that people are hurting you, or you're stuck on a point of view that's causing you some anxiety or emotional pain, cannabis helps you get outside of that point of view and to look from outside of yourself looking in. So it's very healing when it comes to the mind. So having a meetup group where people can support each other in their day-to-day events, and also having a meetup group where people can explore healing. These are some of the sidelines. So anyways, I'm sorry, I digress. So that's Play High. And then Get High is mostly advertising and supporting cannabis-based businesses. So cannabis community businesses, that's cannabis accessories, cannabis lounges, and businesses that are related to cannabis. So those are the three sides of our site.
Wow. I'm glad that you explained that, because I was kind of trying to figure out, okay. I mean, because I looked at the site a little bit, but I really didn't get that much. I said, I'm going to let Elizabeth educate me. So thank you so much for doing that. That makes it more explanational for everybody, the listeners. So loving that. Wow. I like that. That's, like I said, it's catchy. What was it again, Elizabeth?
It's fun. I mean, it's Stay High, Play High, and Get High. It should be fun, right? I'm a filmmaker, and so it should be a fun experience to come onto the site and get lost. And we have a little bit of education, and there's communication between guests and hosts. So it's a place to go to sort of get lost and have fun. And I really wanted to make the cannabis advertising something that you enjoy watching, right? As a consumer, you want to see commercialized cannabis, and you guys are doing a better job of that down in the States than we are here in Canada because of the legislation around marketing. But we're working on it. So let's see, the Get High.
It's funny because it's funny you said we're doing more of the advertising, but we're less at making it more faster legal than in Canada. Really did good on that level. So it's like balancing out. Like, we might be doing okay with the advertising, promoting a little bit, but I think a lot of states still need to get into the understanding of opening up or making it more legal for in other states. So but I think it's gradually growing. I think it is. I haven't checked into it recently of how it's doing, but I think it's doing a little bit better in certain states now.
It's taking a little time in Canada for us to really settle into the fact that it's legal, federally legal, and what that means. I've taken it upon myself and with our business to mean that also means that we can start educating each other, start speaking about it. So with my background in entertainment, we've just starting to put out a web series called Ask Our Expert, where every episode our expert takes a question from the general public and answers it, because now it's time for us to be educated, instead of looking at all these funny accessories and saying, oh, well, that's weird, or we need to know what it is and why it works. What exactly happens physiologically to our bodies when we smoke, and what's the difference between smoking and ingesting? What's the difference between ingesting and taking a tincture, or there's all sorts of different ways of consuming cannabis, and they have slightly different effects. And so it's important for us all to be educated, and really we see that we're just on the very edge of scratching the surface of exploring what cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, and understanding it fully.
Well, see, Elizabeth, I'm so glad you said what you said too, just about exploring and understanding, and really understanding how the physical part of it and everything. Because I always tell people, don't knock something if you have not researched, asked questions, and looked into it, because that's where you get closed-minded again. So I love how you have to do that. I mean, that's not just in cannabis, but anything in life. If you don't understand, ask the questions. If you take the time to look into it, and then you look up and you're like, wow, I'm glad I found that out. Just like I was telling you that I learned from another interview, that I was like, because the whole time they were talking, Elizabeth, I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, that's what it does. And they said, Barbara, your mouth is like open. I said, because I'm just learning so much, I'm taking it in. Like, how you learning something new, you're taking it in like, wow.
Well, we have these preconceived ideas, right?
Yeah.
Our society attitudes, and it's disappointing that cannabis has been stigmatized. It's really had a bad rap, which sort of started with Anslinger in the 1930s, who really lobbied for it to be removed and associated as a Schedule 1, and he then created it on a global level, where it should be looked at as a Schedule 1 narcotic, similar to something like heroin. And it's very sad that there's been this sort of society preconceived idea and stigma that we don't realize we have these invisible attitudes.
Yeah. And then see, it doesn't help because when I was growing up, because my mother, 60s, 50s, 60s era and everything like that, she basically, she looked at it, she didn't know any better. She was looking at it as a drug, and you get high off of it, and it will mess you up for life. That's what my mother would tell me. She's like, you don't need to be smoking that weed. You don't need smoking this Barbara, because I will basically kill you if you do that. And not literally, she would kill me, but that's my mother was that type of like, no, you need to learn your, get your education, this and that. That's going to stop you. Don't do that. Don't think about it. So when it's put in you in your head, and then you're growing up, it's already kind of still stuck there. That's why I said it takes you to really open up and really look into it more, listen to the people that are researching and doing things with it, and showing you that, hey, this is something different than what's just the okay, you get high type of thing. Of course you get, that's part of it, but there's so many other interests with it. So I'm glad I did that, because now my mind changed. It went from what my mother used to say to now I'm like, no, there's so many different aspects of this, that's in a positive light. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a smoker. I don't really enjoy smoking so much. I enjoy cannabis. I've just discovered these beverages, which are great, and they're very small amounts. I like just small amounts. I don't want to be incapacitated. So that's like that's the area we haven't really explored. It's the microdosing and how that can help us relax a little bit more or step out of ourselves a little bit more without it being associated with the getting really, really high.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is too. It like you just said, that it's the intake or how you're doing it is how it's going to affect you. Like you said, if people just outright just smoking, and yeah, of course you're going to get to that level. But if you have certain things, like you say, you drink, a little capacity of it, and it just helps you relax. It helps, you know, just in all different aspects. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think of it using in that way. So
yeah, I can talk more a little bit about that. I have these little mints too, and you just suck on the mints. But because the legislation in Canada is legalized on the federal level, the dosing measurements within each product are across the board. So that when it says there's 2.5 milligrams in this product, you can start to rely on what that is. Whereas in the in the gray market, you don't know exactly what you're getting because the dosing requirements, regulations aren't really tested by the government, right? So that's, I think, in Canada opened it up, for me, where I can start relying on small amounts and knowing that if I take this product, it says it has 2.5 milligrams, it's, I can start to see what I respond to.
Yeah, you know what? And then you think about it, that's in anything. If you indulge in anything, you're going to get the consequences from it. So I'm glad that they did that and said, okay, certain doses you can, and it's not going to be a problem for you. In fact, it's going to help with those little doses that we tell you. But if you go like, take what? I'm just going to be funny here. If you take 12 or 15 or 20 minutes of that, then that's a whole different story. All at one time, he's like, no, that's excessive.
Yeah.
So that's interesting how that's good how they did that. So it's all how you do it and how you're consuming. If you're consuming it, different, because like I said, different people. Like I said, some people I found out how they cook with it, and it says it's like a seasoning or something that they put in their food, and it makes it it enhances it to another level. So I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. Then I was thinking after when they told me that, I said, well, you think about you have the other spices that you put in your food. This is just another one that can help you even more and to regulate some things. So yeah. But thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really, really appreciate you coming on the Diamond Factory Spotlight and really just shining your passion and your purpose of what you do and sharing it with others, because that's what it's all about here. I always tell the ladies to please share, because we need to know you. We need to get to know you, see how real you are, learn, and have awareness. And that's what it's all about. Now, any last words that you want to leave with the listeners before we end the conversation today?
Oh, I don't know what to say other than to come and check us out. If you're interested, one of the things that we've been, very important to is that we don't want to appeal just to the cannabis community who are already, immersed in the cannabis community. We want to appeal to the canna curious and the canna novice, people who have never really tried it, or maybe tried it once and veered away from it, and are curious but don't know wouldn't go out and buy a product. So they may want to take an accommodation. In Canada, it's legal to share your cannabis with somebody else. So we are permitting our hosts to share cannabis, which means that if you're from the US and you want to come to Canada and you book a rental on Airbnb, when you get to your unit, there's cannabis there waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's a good attraction to somebody who's crossing a border. You don't want to cross border with cannabis, and you don't want to have to, when you're traveling, when you get there, trying to find a place. So that's really a great opportunity of Airbnb that we can offer to the international traveler.
Wow. So when the travel kind of comes back into play, as we all know, this pandemic is took that over, then that's a good opportunity for people if they're traveling and they want to go in that aspect, that they can, contact you. Now, can you, Elizabeth, give everybody your contact information? I just want to make sure they know how to get to you.
Oh, absolutely. I am you can reach me at hi at hibnb.ca. And that's important to note. We're hibnb.ca. So you can reach me hi at hibnb.ca.
And I will make sure that when this interview is posted, that will be included. So it's easy for them just to click on that and get right to you. So thank you again, Elizabeth, for allowing me. I always say it's an honor to spotlight you and your business. I truly wish you continuous success in your life and in your business of what you're doing. So thank you so much. And those that are listening, thank you for joining in another special edition of the Diamond Factor Spotlight interview. You can join the Facebook community under Diamond Factor Experience. And if you wish to be spotlighted like this wonderful queen was today, please contact me through Messenger, through the Facebook page, and we can get you on a schedule, a date, and a time. And remember, as I always say, that PPD, I call it the purpose, passion, and drive of your life. That's your foundation, I call it. That's your diamond factor. Just like how it shines with Elizabeth, what she's doing, what I'm doing. Everyone has those gifts and talents. And we need that, not just within yourself, but to help others. So remember to shine your diamond to the world, because it is very special and valuable. You take care. And Elizabeth, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Barbara.